Hi there and welcome to my channel. This project is part of the Altenew January 2020 block up, as they are releasing a brand new set of stamps, dies, stencils, and hosting a block up and a giveaway. So what I'm going to create this time is a layout using the new Simple Beauty stamp set, and I'm also going to use the rounded rectangles die set to help me create part of this layout. So the first thing I always look into is the trifold pamphlet that comes with the stamps, just to see what the configuration of the flowers, what they're gonna look like. And the first thing that caught my eye was the colors of the flowers, because I had a picture that had similar colors and I thought that it was gonna be the perfect background for what I have in mind. So you're gonna see the picture that I have. This is Brandy Kincaid. Last year her and I taught at a retreat and we became friends, and this is probably the only picture that we have together. So I'm gonna create the layout based on the colors of her shirt, and that's what the colors on the pamphlet just spoke to me, because they match the colors of her shirt. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the outline of the Simple Beauty stamp set. I'm gonna create a few flowers with it. I'm going to create at least 3 flowers using the outline, making sure that I stamp the outline using black obsidian ink. I want to create the definition of the flower with it. And then the other part, I'm actually going to stamp the flower without the outline, because if you see the shirt that I'm basing this design on, there's flowers on it but there's no outline that defines them. So I want to bring a little bit of the shirt onto this layer. So you're going to see how simple this flower in this case is to stamp or to create, as long as you actually just follow the layering guide. Super simple and with great definition and design. So what I'm using actually to stamp my flowers are I'm using the mini cubes from Altenew. I'm using the Sweet Dreams ink set, the Summer Afternoon ink set, the Green Fields set is the one that I use for my leaves, and then I'm gonna bring paper bag and honey drizzle just to create the centers of the flowers. So you're gonna see how easy it is, and like I said before, I'm creating a few of them with the black outline and a few without it. I just want to have that combination of something defined and something more of a, I'm not saying a hazy, but less definition, kind of a filler flower. The black outline is gonna catch your eye, and the other one is just gonna create a kind of bulk up the cluster in a way. So you're gonna see right now how easy they are to, honestly, they're so easy to layer. And I'm using my stamping platform just because it makes it easier to work quicker and faster, especially because I'm just switching inks. So it's easier to rotate the paper and get more flowers faster. So very simple. You're gonna see that I'm just gonna go ahead and start layering. I'm gonna say the definition, not the definition, but the little piece that defines the petals and the center. And one of the things that I did is this die set that comes for this stamp set, but only has the cut of the big flower, like the one with the outline. So the other small flowers, literally they are supposed to be filler flowers, and that's why when you see that once I finish stamping, I'm actually gonna take it off camera and start fussy cutting around it, because what I did is once I stamped the flower, I added a few of the there's some loose leaves also in the stamp set around them, just to create a little bit more of a bulkier flower. I just wanted to make sure that I don't want to have a lot of loose pieces, even though you're gonna see that I'm gonna stamp some leaves too, sorry. But all I'm doing right now is just finishing the flower, and you're gonna see that I use my die to cut the ones that have the black outline, but the ones without the black outline, because I don't have them, like I said, it doesn't come with a single die for the single flower. I'm gonna go ahead and fussy cut it. Very simple to fussy cut. There's not a lot of detail in it, so it goes rather fast. Now that I have that in place, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but the shirt that Brandy's wearing has a lot of yellow and blue, but there's hints of purple, like kind of this fuchsia tone. So I'm gonna pick up the color to actually create my background, and for this I'm gonna use the rounded rectangles die set. And my idea is I want to make this layout very Brandy. She loves retro stuff, so my idea is I'm gonna create wonky frames. And I don't know if you remember the 70s, they had those really acrylic pieces that had like those really undefined non-symmetrical squares. So I'm going to use that, and I'm going to create that with the rectangle, around the rectangles die. So you're going to see that I'm going to cut a piece of this paper. This paper is from the Our Family collection, and I'm going to set the frames, in this case the rectangles, sorry, inside of them, so that it cuts frames but not symmetrical ones. You're going to see some pieces are going to be of the frame. In this case, some pieces are going to be a little bit thicker on one side, thinner on the other side, and I just love how that turned out. So all that I have now, that I have everything to work on this page, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding some foam adhesive behind the frames. I just want to create a little bit of lift on the paper. I want to create some movement. I want to create a little bit of the soft shadow that just screams dimension and movement on a layout. Once I have that in place, I'm going to keep the picture very simple. I'm going to actually layer it with a piece of acetate, and I had this see-through acetate that has gold glitter polka dots, and I thought that that little accent of gold is just going to make it stand out. So that was all I needed, and I'm going to add some foam adhesive behind it because I want it to be a little bit higher than the frames. Once I have that in place, you're going to see that I'm actually going to start building my layout, just because I want to make sure that nothing moves. So I'm going to make sure that I set my first rectangle in place before I build the rest of the page, and it's going to be very simple. My idea is I want to keep I remember watching movies from, like, you know, my mom used to watch when I was young, that had like these curtains hanging that had little pieces of acrylic, different sizes. So that's what this idea for my background came from. I want to have like this cascade of frames. I'm gonna make sure that they're straight going down, but you know, different formation. I don't want it to be uniform. So just like I said, think of a cascade of frames falling. That's the idea for this layer. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start moving the frames, in this case, because the rectangles are now frames, just until I'm happy with what it looks like. And you're gonna see that I'm gonna try to balance, make sure that the layout is balanced. What I mean by that is, if you're gonna see that when I set the frames, in this case, you're gonna see that even though there's different sizes, it's not gonna show us one side being heavier than the other. It's just the picture is gonna stay in the center, and it's gonna be the center of the layout without the frames being balanced. And what I mean by that is, at the top I'm using two of the large rectangles in this case. So at the bottom I'm gonna use a medium and two small, and that just kind of makes it even and a little bit on the symmetrical side. Once I have that in place, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use, if you see the stamp set, it actually comes with a filler flower. So just a small little flower, and I'm actually gonna use that to add a few, I'm gonna say a little bit more, bring more of that black that I have on the outline, then add a little bit of a touch, kind of a filler through the cluster. And I'm gonna use black obsidian ink to stamp it right onto my layout. And once I have that in place, I'm actually gonna add a little bit of foam adhesive behind the flowers and set them in place. I'm gonna make sure that each one of the clusters has a blue flower and a yellow flower, and you're gonna see how I'm gonna create kind of a crescent shape, an inverted C shape on my layout. And you're gonna see how simple it is. You're gonna see how it's screwed up too. When I came to stamp that filler flower on the right hand side of the picture, I forgot that I had foam adhesive already on that on the frame. So you're gonna see that I had to double stamp the image, so my choice, I'm just gonna cover it with a flower, and it's okay, it actually works out. I had the idea of the flower anyways, but I had to choose a bigger one. I was gonna go with a smaller one, and all I'm doing right now is just finishing adding the rest of the flowers to create my clusters. I make sure to add a little bit of foam adhesive behind some of the flowers, just to create a little bit of movement to add to the dimension of the page. Once I have that all in place, I'm gonna say that my layer is a little bit bottom heavy. So what I'm gonna do is I decided to just trim a little bit of the bottom around the entire layer, around 1/4 of an inch. I didn't cut from the bottom, but I cut 1/2 inch from the top. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna frame it with a piece of paper, and I'm using this paper I had in my stash, and it has the same tone of yellow as in the ones in the flowers. So I'm just cutting a 1-inch frame from it, and I'm gonna glue my layer right onto it, and that's just gonna center the page. Once I have that in place, all about embellishing, and I'm not gonna add that many embellishments. I actually love the fact that the flowers are bold enough to create the statement. I'm gonna bring the little acetate butterfly from Altenew, just because it has the same tone of yellow and blue that I have on the layout. The title is gonna be from the Live Your Dream collection. It says remember that day, and again it has that tone of blue, and it's all about remembering the day. Like I said, this is the only picture that we have of the two of us together. And after that, I'm just gonna add my lines of journal. You're not gonna see it, I'm gonna do it outside the camera. Right underneath the title, I'm gonna add a few enamel dots just to run the clusters. I'm bringing a little bit of yellow, I'm gonna bring a little bit of that teal, that blue. The Altenew enamel dots did not match the blue, so I had to go in my stash just to match them. And then my last touch is gonna be, I'm gonna bring the metallic watercolor set from Altenew and just add a few drops of the really yellow gold, just because I have already that glitter behind the picture. So I'm just gonna add a few very fine drops of the really yellow gold around the clusters, and that's about it. I love how this turned out. This layout was such a joy to put together. Like I said, once I opened the pamphlet and saw the colors, the picture came right away to my brain and I knew that I was gonna be the perfect background. And like I said, I love how this turned out, and I think it looks great. It just reminds me of Brandy so much. And as always, don't forget to hop onto the blog to check all the projects that I created with the new stamps and stencils and dies. Don't forget to check out Altenew for everything. Remember, you have a chance to win a gift certificate if you leave a comment on the designers that are taking part on the blog hub. Thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget to leave me any questions if you have any, and I hope to see you very soon. Take care, guys. Bye bye.